Sex is a rather intimate time, so when our partners say something we don't like during sex, we might change the subject or ignore what was said. Fidel Lopez was a man who could not do either, and instead would do something so horrendous and horrific it would leave officers feeling confused and queasy. Okay, let's go. Disclaimer, ladies and gents, and I know we don't do disclaimers anymore, but this one might hurt your lady bits, and not in a good way. Today's case is the first time I have felt physically ill, and I'm normally first to search for the crime scene photos, but goddamn, this case took me a while to get through. I would have to stop and watch some stand-up comedy, and shout out to my new fave comedian, Jeff Arcuri? I can't even say his last name. He's Italian, but that's fine. You're hilarious, and I hope you hear this one day because that would be pretty cool, Jeff. So, back to crime disclaimer. You may feel ill. Oh, and today's guy, he's a bloody Aries.
What are you?
Fucking Aries. Yeah. I was like, he's a fucking Aries.
So we know that he's quick to anger.
And that. Shut the fuck up! Yeah.
He'll be explosive.
Yeah.
Stubborn.
Yep. And just fun. No.
Depraved.
Yep.
And he'll do things to your lady bits.
That
you don't like.
Yeah. Anyway, you have been warned. On the 20th of September 2015, a 911 call was made around 3:39 a.m. by 25-year-old Fidel Lopez, who was from Sunrise, Florida, USA. And he stated that his 31-year-old girlfriend, Maria Nemeth, needed help. Police arrived to find Fidel standing over Maria's naked, lifeless body, crying and asking for help. Officers immediately noticed the carnage around them. Walls were bashed in and smeared with blood. The sliding glass door was shattered, and many more items broken around the house.
Okay, you said the word carnage.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a bloodbath to me.
Well, the photos were fucked.
Oh dear.
One detective thought that maybe they had stumbled upon a failed schmishmortion. However, they would soon find out that something much more horrific had happened just moments before. Obviously, police took Fidel down to the station as a crime scene was set up. Police would start questioning Fidel, wanting to know everything that went on. And my god, dear mung beans, grip your nips
and steady your hips.
Fidel advised police that he was a mechanic and that him and his girlfriend had been dating for around a year. Maria was newly divorced after being married for 8 years and met Fidel one night when clubbing. Not long after they first started dating, they would move in together to an apartment in Hollywood. They later relocated to the Colonnade residence in Sunrise, Florida, just 1 week prior to the incident, with Maria being the manager of the complex they were renting. So literally in there for a week.
Before this happened?
Mm-hmm. On Saturday the 19th, they had both gone to work, and when they were done, they went and visited Fidel's mother before going out to Chili's for some drinks and then headed to the bottle shop, bought a bottle of tequila and headed home around 10 p.m.
Let me tell you now, tequila will either give you a great night or carnage. I don't even know what happened yet.
That was my drink. I drink Jack, and then when I went out, shot a tequila.
Oh, tequila has always been like my drink. It was only when probably around 29 that I started drinking like Canadian clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
Before that, like tequila. Give me a mark. Give me a tequila sunrise. Oh, tequila sunrise. So yummy. And I don't even drink, so...
Fidel advised officers that Maria was already a little bit tipsy and they had decided to continue drinking, listening to music and sitting out on the floor together as they were yet to purchase furniture for their new place. Fidel was also adamant about letting the police know that Maria would go a bit crazy on tequila. One thing obviously led to another, and the couple would end up having sex in the closet of their apartment. And this is where Maria apparently started asking Fidel to do things that he'd never done before.
They're fucking in a they had the whole apartment.
Yeah. So when they said closet, I was like, huh? But it was like literally an open, like a walk-in with like the back and the hanger part, but there was no door. So it was literally just like in the bedroom, big open.
Listen to me right now, listeners. The only reason you'd want to do that is because you want to do a thing called monkey fucking. And that's where you hang on to the bar of the thing.
Gosh.
Outside of that,
yeah.
why are you fucking in a wardrobe?
I don't know.
Obviously not the main point of this story today.
No.
I just need to know.
No, I thought it was weird as well. I was like, why are you fucking in the closet?
Well, why are you in the fucking closet?
Yeah. Get out of the closet.
All right.
Okay. Police questioned, what do you mean? Because she'd asked him to do some things he'd never done before. Police questioned, what do you mean? And Fidel replied with, well, I was uncomfortable, but she said one day, I want you to put a bottle up my vagina. Not in those words, obviously he called it something else, but I don't know, murder and pussy do not go well together, if you ask me.
Okay.
Okay. He even mentioned that she wanted him to fist her as well. Now, you might be thinking, hey, each to their own, but no, dear mung beans, that is not why we're here today.
Nor is that appropriate.
I told you, in the car,
I know,
sex.
but there's lots of, yeah. Bottle, fist,
Yeah,
pussy.
yeah, and we're only at the start.
She was on tequila when she requested.
So apparently
allegedly.
they'd spoken about it before they had sex. So it was more just a conversation while they're drinking. Fidel stated that Maria started to feel sick and she wanted to throw up and went to the bathroom. And whilst that was happening, he went outside and had a cigarette. He couldn't remember if the glass door was already shattered. And I'm sorry, no matter how drunk you get, you still know what you're doing. And to me, that would be a bit obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit fucking obvious.
That's a bit fucking obvious. He said after his cigarette, he came inside and found Maria in the bathroom between the toilet and shower, breathing heavily, talking to Fidel. And then this is where he called 911, and whilst on the call, she stopped breathing. He continues with his story where police wanted to go into more detail because obviously they're not buying it.
Good.
Yeah. What they really wanted to know was what sexual acts the couple got up to. And yes, I know you might be thinking we don't really need to know, but it is important to this case, trust me, and you will shortly find out why. So Fidel starts off by telling officers, well, what can I tell you? I didn't came. He's like, what can I tell you? I didn't come.
Did he sound disappointed that he didn't come?
I think it was more because the two officers in there were men and they were doing a lot of like, it's okay, man, like you can tell us. And he's like, well, what I can tell you is I didn't came. He then went on to state that they had sexual intercourse and did some of the things that Maria wanted. These included being fisted as well as putting a beer bottle in her to make her happy. Fidel also said something rather interesting. He made sure to tell officers that she was conscious and he'd never do any of that stuff if she wasn't.
I don't think you protest too much.
A little weird, no one asked you if she was passed out. After doing some of these acts, again, Fidel states that this is where Maria told him she felt sick and wanted to throw up. Police asked, well, what else did you put inside Maria? Fidel answered, the bottle, my arm, my dick, that's it. She was crazy, man.
She's dead, but you probably wouldn't be talking like that.
They continued asking, well, have you ever done anything like this before? Or had she asked you to do anything like this before? To which he answered no, and it had actually surprised him too. Like it just came out of nowhere. Now that police had gained a bit of an insight into their sexual encounter that night, they wanted to know about the argument that happened. Like, why was their things smashed and broken, and why were there holes in the wall? Surely some kind of argument went on. Fidel was rather reluctant at first, and then the conversation turned around to more of a, well, I didn't like that she asked me to use a bottle or hand. That made him feel low, like he couldn't satisfy her. And I think he even stated like she questioned his manhood or some fucking bullshit like that. He kept talking on and just couldn't remember how the argument had started. Officers do get a bit of an insight when Fidel lets slip that when he's angry, he hits walls or smashes things because he doesn't want to hurt Maria, and went on to mention maybe she mentioned her ex-husband or something like that, but he doesn't remember what made him mad. But the only thing he does know is that Maria is dead. Some back and forth went on for a while, with officers trying to find out what really went on. Questioning went back to the objects that were inserted into Maria, with Fidel stating first it was the bottle, but once he took it out, she was bleeding. He doesn't like blood, but he couldn't remember if the bottle had broken whilst inside of her, but he definitely took it out because, you know, can't leave it in there. That's what he said. Police were very curious as to how Maria got to the bathroom, with Fidel stating that she was bleeding from her vagina and told him that it didn't hurt, so don't worry. And she walked to the bathroom herself, saying that she was going to throw up. But I forgot to mention, before she threw up, Fidel stated that he fisted her. So he's saying that he's put a bottle in her, fisted her, she's bleeding, she's gone to the bathroom because she feels sick, throws up. Officers then went on to ask Fidel if there was anything else you put inside her, because they found many items on the floor. Fidel said, I cannot remember, so why don't you tell me what items you found and I'll let you know.
Sure.
The officers stated they found a flashlight and a flat iron, so like a hair straightener. He just shrugged and said maybe, but I don't remember. Immediately the police were like, there is something you aren't telling us. And we know there's more to the story because you were so upset, and we think there's something you were holding on to because it's hurting you. They dive in more into that night and asked Fidel, well, when you went for a cigarette, did you notice all the blood? And asked if he tried to clean it up at all. He said, yeah, there was a lot of blood, but no, why should he have to clean it? She was the one who would have to clean it the next day, not me.
He was too stoned to speak.
They even asked, was Fidel worried with the amount of blood? And he replied, of course, but she said she was okay. Now, if you saw the photos of how much blood, you wouldn't go, oh no, but she said she's fine, because there was a lot of blood. For officers to think a foul schmishmortion happened, you can only imagine how much. Some time passes with the officers leaving the interrogation room before coming back and letting Fidel know there's a bit of a problem, as they've just spoken to their crime scene team and a medical examiner who has advised them that the injuries to Maria are pretty severe. Multiple injuries inside of her with tissue ripped out, and some of her insides ripped out and were found on the floor.
Pause. When you say insides,
Yeah.
are you talking about like womb, ovary,
I don't think the full thing, just tissues and stuff from within her.
so of like the
So
vaginal
they-
wall? And
Yeah, so they don't, not just the vagine, but they don't go into full details of what was pulled out. They're more just like tissue and intestines, and I couldn't find
intestines. Okay, so
Yeah.
not womb, further.
like insides. Yeah.
Okay.
Fidel responded with, is that the cause of death?
What?
Yeah, they found insides ripped out on the floor. Yes, that is the cause of death, sir.
First of all, I didn't say play. Second of all, rewind. Is that the cause of death?
Yeah.
Play.
The officer continues, you know how much blood was in there. Her insides were ripped out. What happened, man? They continue with, this is not a case of rough sex, so it's time to tell us what really happened. It took Fidel a lot of back and forth to tell officers what really happened that night. But what we learn is that during intercourse, Maria said her ex-husband's name twice. So she's drunk. She's called out her
The
ex-husband's
wrong
name.
name in the middle of coitus.
Yeah.
And he got upset.
Fidel said, she changed my name. She called me the name of the other fucking guy. And she said it twice, and she was wrong, and she was confusing me with him. At that point, I get mad, he said. I get really, really mad. This is where he flew into a rage, destroying their apartment, before coming back to Maria, who was now passed out from alcohol in the closet. Fidel would start using various objects, from the beer bottle to the flat iron, and even his arm, and inserted them into Maria's vagina and anus. He even told officers that at one point he inserted his arm all the way up to his elbow, which obviously caused her to bleed.
And she's passed out. She's already...
Yeah, she's drunk, she's passed out. Fidel had turned into a monster, even he said that. And even though he claimed he loved Maria, he started to violate her body and would end up ripping pieces of her insides out through her vagina and anus. Maria would not regain consciousness, so he then carried her to the bathroom, attempting to splash water on her face to try and wake her up.
He had ripped her insides out. He then wants to take her to the bathroom to splash water on her to bring her back to consciousness.
Yeah. So this is where the officers were kind of like, because they knew what the scene was. They knew how much blood was there. Yeah. And apparently they even saw the tissue when they walked in. Like they saw...
And that's why they thought abortion, right?
Yeah. So in the interrogation room, it goes into more detail. You can watch it all online. I think it's like 3 hours or something like that, the footage. He literally does the motion and they're like, well, did you feel anything that you were pulling out? And he's like, I don't know, man. There was just blood and, you know, it was just kind of going going like this and flicking the blood away. And they're like, well, did you feel tissue? Like, did you know you were ripping out her insides? And he's like, I don't know, I don't remember. When that didn't work, he cleaned his hands up and went outside to smoke a cigarette. After he finished his smoke, he came back inside and started to panic, throwing towels and other items over the blood and tissue, and went to check on Maria, who was now no longer breathing. This is where Fidel called 911. So this man decided to violate his partner whilst she was passed out and started ripping out her insides because she was drunk and said her ex-husband's name during sex. That is the reason why. Fidel would accept a plea deal and pled guilty to first-degree murder and sexual battery. He did this to avoid the death penalty, and he was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole or chance to appeal the sentence. During the trial, Fidel would take the stand, asking the family and friends of Maria for forgiveness, and stated that he was happy to fulfill this conviction because he knows what he did has to be paid, and he will pay with his life for the life he took. He continues with, to Maria's family, I ask for forgiveness, and I hope one day they can forgive me. The judge even made a comment of how speechless she was, stating that in her 23 years on the bench, she had never been left without words to say.
I agree.
And that, dear mung beans, is the case of Fidel Lopez, the man who disemboweled his partner because she called out her ex's name during sex. Can you see why it took me so long to write? And Joey has left.
I feel a little bit violated by your case today.
Poor choice of words.
No, it was the right choice. I have recorded dozens and dozens of episodes with you, and you have never, like, we do a true crime podcast. We talk this stuff. We talk about this kind of stuff. But your cases are not graphic in general, and this, you just thought that this would be appropriate to hit me with. I'm the one who grosses you out, not the other way around. I'm spiraling.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. How does it feel? But also, it was fucked. It's fucked. I even saw, I don't know if they did something later on, but the reporters somehow got phone conversations, like extracts written down on paper and stuff, of Fidel talking to his family and everything like that, because his family also took the stand. His mother was like, I literally saw them hours before. They were so in love. I have no idea what happened. The sister was like, he's a good man, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe it was drugs. She blames drugs, but there's no mention of drugs. I'm not too sure. No priors, no criminal history, nothing. And I was going somewhere with this. Old age tangent. So the reports of the phone calls he was having, he was saying to his family that every night he goes to sleep and closes his eyes, he just replays the thing. He's like, I'm tortured. Like, it just happens. Yeah.
Good. Be tortured.
Yeah.
For the rest of your damn life.
She said her ex-husband's name. Like, you're 1 year in, she's drunk. And I think he saw it as...
Here's the thing. He saw that as betrayal.
And, like, he couldn't satisfy.
Yeah, but he's too sensitive then. He's too fucking sensitive. If I was getting my rocks off and someone called me by the wrong name, I'm going to probably pull out and go home.
Yeah, like,
because that is going to be the biggest turn off for me. I can't imagine being enraged. I don't care what I'm on, because I don't fly off the handle like that. But no.
Yeah, it's fucked.
No, you're fucked.
I told you it was bad. This is why it took me so long.
Yeah, but I'm okay. Here's the thing. I've heard you say something's bad before, and I've been like,
that's not so bad.
Yeah, like, it's fine. I've done cases on this and this, whatever. This, I think, because this was not. I was thinking something different to what.
Yeah. So when I found this case, I had to actually think of the logistics and had to do some searching of how the fuck do you pull someone's insides out.
Your fucking search history is going to be really confusing.
Well, I couldn't actually find it. So then I went around.
How?
Yeah, I went around and asked some people. And they're like, yeah, that's possible. Like, so my way of thinking is maybe the beer bottle has cut. They also mentioned that they found a hook, like as in coat hanger.
Well, he did say they did say that he had just been putting random things inside her. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of those things was sharp.
And has cut through. And then if he's gone up to his elbow.
Then he's probably gone through that wound.
putting my mind in that is just, yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah. I think it's time for you to go home.
Yeah, okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Before this happened,
All of this carnage.
just wait.
All right.
All right. Fiddle div did. Fiddle div. Before my mouth is making that noise again, like a fucking girl. Oh, that got me in the eye. That did.